All right, guys. So, once again, another NBA All Star game has come and gone. And it seems like each year, the cries for the All Star game to end or for some sort of change to happen seems like they get more and more echoed throughout, the NBA community because at this point, the All Star game is a total joke. So I thought I would just go back year by year and kind of see where the NBA went wrong. The current situation with the NBA All-Star Game, I liken to where the NFL was like 2 years ago. If you guys don't know, the NFL Pro Bowl at this point they don't even tackle. They admitted defeat this past year when they changed it to flag football because the players didn't want to get injured. And you're seeing a similar situation with the NBA and players not trying at all. And the worst part of this whole thing is Adam Silver coming out and just being so soft. When you look at the three commissioners in all the three sports, you've got Goodell, who's kind of like the hard ass, and really, honestly, what a commissioner should be. A commissioner should not be, loved by the players, right? You've got Adam Silver, who's just gets completely run over and is totally soft. He's like the parent that allows the kids to do whatever they want. He's a total joke. None of the players respect him. And then you got Rob Manfred, who I just think Rob Manfred is dumb, honestly, like that. But no, seriously, just looking back at the NBA All-Star Game and what's going to happen to it and kind of the changes, I just wanted to go year by year. So starting back in 2012 when I was a lot younger, guys, I used to love to watch the NBA All-Star Game, watch these guys score so many points. And if you remember, the 2012 All-Star Game, there wasn't a lot of defense, but it was noticeably better than where it is right now and even where it was in 2018, 2019. So, 152 to 149, great game. They play more defense in the fourth quarter. Kevin Durant comes away with the MVP. Beautiful. Great All-Star weekend. The dunk contest still has semi-big names. Now we've got a basically WWE Make-A-Wish player, Jericho Sims, participating. Is that Chris Jericho's brother? Who was in the dunk contest this past year? It's a total joke, but that was the 2012 All-Star game. The 2013 one was in Houston, and Chris Paul comes away with the MVP. Really good game, very competitive, 143 to 138. And again, guys, I remember when I was younger, I would get so excited to see all the scoring. Of course, now we get scores like this in the regular season. We get teams scoring 90 points in a single half. It is so bloated and so bad. And I just want to do a separate video on the NBA having a scoring problem to where teams are scoring too many points and it's becoming all meaningless. And you've got 5 players averaging 30 points. It is totally bloated. But the 2013 All-Star game, this is what we love to see. East versus West, best players on the East versus the best players on the West. The guys are not going to go as hard, but they still try, and especially late in the game, they try, and it's a close, fun game. Moving to 2014 in New Orleans, this was when Kyrie was the MVP. Maybe a little bit higher scoring in this one, but still perfectly fine. East versus West, 163 to 155. And we know that Kyrie, he's doing a lot of different moves. He's shooting threes. He's not doing a try-hard MVP thing, where you'll see guys, literally go for the MVP and try and just get a bunch of dunks and stuff like that, which starts happening in later years. 2015, it goes to New York, Madison Square Garden, and you get Russell Westbrook winning the MVP. Again, this is kind of, I'd say, where it started to turn a little bit for me. The defense started to get a lot worse. I think Westbrook jacked up a bunch of shots, I don't know. This is kind of where it lost its vibe for me. And then 2016 All-Star Game in Toronto. You're scoring 200 points, folks. What are we doing? At this point, there's already no defense. Westbrook wins the MVP again. And, at least at this point, the dunk contest is decent. You've got Aaron Gordon, Zach LaVine. All-Star Weekend isn't totally ruined. It's still East versus West. 2017, it goes back to New Orleans. So New Orleans had the All-Star game 2 times, I guess, in the span of 4 years because the NBA was trying to be like super woke and they took it out of, I think, Charlotte, if I remember correctly, like in an emergency situation or whatever. I'm not going to get into that. But again, there's just no defense. And to me, this is when the All-Star game officially became a joke. So Anthony Davis at the time was playing for New Orleans. It was like his hometown game, and they spoon-fed him about 20 dunks. I mean, James Wiseman could have won MVP. You know what? That's a low blow at James Wiseman. I'm sorry about that. That was unnecessary. But still, like, if you watch Anthony Davis's quote-unquote 2017 MVP, it's about 25 dunks. He went 26 of 39, and 25 of them, I mean, maybe I'm exaggerating, but it felt like 25 of them were dunks. He scores 52 points, and the players just spoon-fed it for him. It was the most ridiculous thing ever, and then it officially is done in 2018 when they decide. I mean, listen, there was a reason why I guess they did this. They said the East versus West was getting stale. People didn't like it, whatever. But what is this crap? I'm surprised it's never come up with players to where if you're a player and you play for like Team LeBron, isn't that a little weird? I just don't understand the dynamic of that. Like, if I'm an all-star player and it says Team LeBron on my jersey, I just like, that's just weird, man. Just make it East versus West. I don't understand that. So Team LeBron versus Team Stephen. And, it was a good game, but I just hate that they eliminated the East versus the West. And again, we're seeing as the years go by, it's the exact same progression with the NFL Pro Bowl to where they're trying less and less and less. And the worst part of it is the GMs of the teams and kind of the front offices are telling these players, don't try. We don't want you injured, right? It's meaningless. It's dumb. It's so funny how this is supposed to be like a fun show for the fans, and it just turns into a quote-unquote meaningless event. Because and the other funny thing is how they say the All-Star game is meaningless, but then apparently also the regular season is meaningless because players rest multiple times early in the regular season now. So it's like everything's meaningless. Adam Silver is getting completely run over. He's like a parent that says yes to everything. It's a total joke. Moving to the 2019 All-Star game, they decide to give it to Charlotte. Team LeBron versus Team Giannis. KD wins MVP again on Team LeBron. They play no defense, and it's 178 to 164. The 2020 All-Star Game in Chicago. This, I guess, is right before the pandemic. This is less than a month before Rudy Gobert became a serial killer. I'm kidding. But you saw Team LeBron beat Team Giannis. That's a good game. And you know what? I can respect the 2020 All-Star game because you look at the fourth quarter, they seem to go pretty try-hard. 22 points for Team Giannis. But again, let's do the East versus West. I don't know why we're doing these teams and then they're drafting players. And I don't know if you guys have seen the latest revelation with the NBA draft, but Adam Silver came out and said, we don't want guys getting their feelings hurt, so we want the reserves to be picked first, apparently, or something like that, because the players were getting their feelings hurt if they got picked last. And it was funny, they asked CJ McCollum about it, and he was like, dude, I don't care. I'll be last picked. It doesn't matter. But like some of the players, I guess, were getting their feelings hurt. The 2021 All-Star Game, Team LeBron versus Team Durant, absolute joke, 170 to 150. And then this last year's All-Star Game was when it really became comical because last year in Cleveland, I think they did the whole thing with the quarters, like they would only play to like 163 or like every quarter the game reset or something. So it was like 0-0 at the start of the second quarter. This thing is a complete sham. It's a complete sham. Why do we have to reinvent the wheel? I mean, I guess people didn't like it, so they're trying different things. And again, this is like the Pro Bowl. We saw the Pro Bowl get so bad to where now they have to do flag football. I wonder if they're just going to have to scrap the All-Star game at this point. Curry ends up winning MVP in Cleveland, and then we had this past one where they used the same exact format. And you had the Denver Nuggets head coach come out and say it was terrible. Some people liked it because you saw two players score over 50 points. I don't know. But the problem now for the NBA is the dunk contest is so bad. None of the big names, forget about the big names, none of the role players want to do it. They've got to get G Leaguers, they've got to get WWE, Make-A-Wish superstars, Jericho Sims. I'm sorry, Jericho. It sounds like the name Chris Jericho. That's why I'm saying that. But no, but seriously, I mean, who are these guys that are participating in it? And All-Star Weekend is just turning into a complete sham. The only real All-Star Weekend that is still good is the MLB. As crazy as that is, the MLB still has the Home Run Derby, although they've actually partly ruined the Home Run Derby by changing that. And, I used to like the Home Run Derby when you could actually watch the home runs and it wasn't rapid fire because it was more majestic. But that's another story for another day. I don't know what they're going to do with the NBA at this point. I think they should just go back to East versus West and do, instead of doing this thing where I understand you want to pick the best 5 players, but really? Why is Embiid and Jokic starting and they're on the same team? They're both centers. It just looks stupid. This is what you should do. All right, East versus West. A point guard starts, a shooting guard starts, a small forward, a power forward, and a center, okay? And they're like, we don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, or it's just they're like, just pick the best 5 players, but I don't know. I think it looks dumb whenever you have 3 centers starting or 3 power forward. It's just, I don't know. I guess nowadays it's positionless basketball and stuff like that, but it's just sad to see the All-Star game get deteriorated to this point. And, again, when I was younger, I loved the All-Star game because there was so much scoring in it and it would be like an actual real crazy game. Like we would see this 160, 150. Now the scoring is so watered down and bloated in the league. We're seeing teams score 130 points. It's like they're averaging it over the course of 2 weeks because of how crazy the scoring is. And that's another major problem the NBA has, where there's too much scoring and all of these records that are being set. It's almost it's kind of a joke because if everyone's averaging 30 points, is it really that impressive to average 30 points? I'm kind of exaggerating a little bit, but it's like the NBA, the whole new Gen Z, the fact that these kids can't look up off their phones for 2 minutes, the NBA bought into that, and they're like, here you go, every game's 140 points. It's like eating ice cream for every meal of every day. Yes, ice cream tastes good, but if I'm eating ice cream every single meal, at a certain point it gets to be too much and it stops tasting good. It's like me seeing all these games 130 to 127. 10 years ago, I would be like, oh my God, a team scored 65 points in the first half. Are you kidding me? Now it's like, oh my God, how did they only score 62? It's just, it's too rampant. The scoring is too high. And, again, this is not just an NBA problem. It's also a thing with the NFL where these players and the other problem, it's the GMs are telling these guys just don't try. And because you don't want to hurt yourself, it's meaningless, and they all buy into it when this, the All-Star game is supposed to be just a fun little event that the fans can watch and be entertained by. And each year, it's like less and less defense gets played, and I almost wonder if they're going to have to completely change it to something totally different than it is right now, or if they would even consider it like the NFL. The NFL, those guys were playing virtual two-hand touch for the last 2 years, and then they finally had to pull the plug, and they played some sham flag football game. It's unwatchable. I think the NBA might, I think the NFL might just have to cancel the Pro Bowl next year and just say, okay, these are the players that made the Pro Bowl. In the NFL, there's a quarterback that threw 2 passing touchdowns and he made the Pro Bowl because there were so many quarterbacks that opted out because they didn't want to go to it. And you can just say, oh, I developed a knee injury yesterday when I got up off my couch. I can't make the Pro Bowl. And they'll let you skip it. So I don't know what the NBA is going to do, but this is a thing that happens every single year now where people are like, this is so stupid, it's a waste of time. The players are trying less and less. The people in the front offices are telling, Giannis, don't go out there, don't play. I mean, obviously, Giannis was injured. That's fine. You don't have to play if you have any injury. But even guys that are healthy, the front offices are saying, just go get cardio in. Don't try. If you get injured, obviously, it's terrible. But, it's just very hard to live life like that to where you're scared to get hurt. And then on top of it, you're telling us not only does the All-Star game not matter, even though it's supposed to be for the fans, the regular season doesn't matter either, because a lot of these teams don't care if they're a 2, a 3, or a 4 seed. They'll rest guys 3 weeks into the season that are perfectly healthy and that are like 26 years old. And you'll get teams that have losing records that rest guys now. And then Adam Silver comes out and defends it and says we shouldn't expect this much from these players. They're world-class athletes. And then, of course, you see back in the 90s and early 2000s, multiple players play 82 games in like 10 straight seasons. But no, now these players can't do it. No, they're just lazy, and Adam Silver defends anything they do. I mean, these players just stomp all over Adam Silver, and he takes it. It's real sad, honestly. But that is the current state of the NBA All-Star Game, and where it is right now. And we'll see what happens in the future, but I don't think it has much left in it.